Alright, folks, hello. Hello. We gotta finish what we started last time. We're back in it with Galactic Heroes. I may have done a little organizing and mixing of the track since I last streamed. So for those of you who were not here last time, I started recreating a track that I first created back in like December of 2010, like a cinematic kind of. Well, you'll hear what it sounds like in a second. But I wanted to finish it on stream because I said I would. But I also kind of went a little crazy trying to mix everything together off of stream after the initial one. Yeah, that is what has happened. Give me a sec. Make sure everything is A-okay. And I actually remember to go live on Twitch this time. Last time I did not. Apparently you have to manually press that. In addition to the start streaming button. Give me a sec. Level's alright, I'm doing okay, I'm audible. So it looks like I'm audible. Alright. Let's get into it. So, I did about a little more than half, I would say, of this track last, on Saturday. This might be shorter, and, for reasons other than the work on this track is going to be shorter now because I know what I'm doing. Most of last time was kind of spitballing. But here's how it sounds so far. Sorry. Here's where I'm going to add the bee theme that I mentioned the previous stream. Hello, Withered Workshop. How's it going today? So that's a little further on than I had it when I ended stream this Saturday. So, but I wanted to carry these over specifically. These are just little, little little accents that I had that have existed since the first version in 2010 of this song. I first created it. I first was, you know, making a concept for it. Where is that? Where is that file? So I can play it again. There's the transposed modes, and there's the original track. This is... what VSTs am I using? So a bunch of them. The orchestral patches are mostly BBC Symphony Orchestra, the Pro version, I think it is. It's not the core version, it's the... I think they call it Pro? But yeah, it's the one above core. And Discover. I also have Vital, which I'm using to make those little Sound Paint here, which is more of a sample library loader like Contact is, and I'm also using a bunch of Contact instances. Welcome, Motion View. And then however, it's not also Omnisphere. Omnisphere is here too. Oh, thank goodness. It was freezing for just a sec, so I was worried about that. So that's another thing. This might crash. While I'm continuing to make this song, the FL Studio may crash, which is okay because there's backups of it. I tell it to make backups every 10 or so minutes. However, that has happened twice. And I lost a good few minutes of progress, which is like... It's like years in FL in music composition terms. I lost this entire thing, so I had to do this over again. Where is that? Vital, by the way. That's what it sounds like, unaffected. If I put the effects on, I have a bit crusher, a parametric EQ, turn down the low end, and then replica from Native Instruments to add that extra delay. What's the difference between the programs you use versus a studio music room from Walt Disney? The difference is they're probably using Pro Tools or Ableton Live. Is it Ableton? Is Ableton one that would be a normal, or is it Cubase? Probably Cubase. I hear Ableton Live thrown around a lot as like, this is another industry thing that you gotta have. But no, it's either they're using they either might be using they either could be using a PC or a Mac and using Pro Tools, or they're definitely using a Mac and using Logic Pro. Both of which I had to get acquainted with during my time at Academy of Art. Oh yeah, as I was saying, it's not just VSTs that I'm using, but also got some physical bits and bobs here. This is a Hydrasynth Explorer. It's a 3 oscillator poly synthesizer. I'm on a edited patch right now called Spiral Ballad. But I don't think I've even cycled through all of the patches that are on this thing. And then even then, there's a little randomizer button right here that allows me to just, it chews up the preset and spits out something completely different. And sometimes it's it can work for like horror stuff. And to my right, which is not shown, is a Behringer Edge percussion synthesizer, and it's responsible for the kind of analog backing beat of the track. I also have with me, not on right now, it's not being used, but a Behringer 2600, which is essentially a semi-modular analog synthesizer. I've used it before on other tracks. Let me see if I can find one. Oh, here we one. Cities of the Great Sea. Contact libraries. What kind of contact libraries? I have a lot from 8Dio, but also from libraries like or developers like Heaviosity. You got Audio Imperia here, which I've gotten a few libraries from over the years. Contact 7 is not the place to look at those libraries, though. I have them all in quick load. On the previous version of Contact, for some reason, I have been very lazy to get all of these organized in Contact 7. And Contact 8 is out! I gotta spend another $99 just to get the next version. Anyway. I actually want to see Alex Pfeffer's Pfeffer? How do you pronounce his last name? Alex Pfeffer. I imagine the P is silent, like pterodactyl. I've even got I got my hands on Cinesample's Drums of War 1, which has been around forever. That's like mid-2000s type of libraries. I also have a bunch of play libraries, like East-West. No, not $90 a year. Not $99 a year. $99 per upgrade. So Contact 7 came out, and the upgrade for me, since I have the previous version, is $100. But it's kind of predatory, because FL Studio here offers lifetime free updates. Whereas Contact, which you're already paying $300 for the initial version, you gotta pay $100 more basically to get the next one. The next version of the full version. I don't know. Just in my opinion. It's kind of ridiculous. I also have some free sample libraries that are loaded up in Contact. I don't think you can successfully use these without have in the player version without having it be like, oh, this is a demo. You have 15 minutes to live. Where is it? Piano Book, which is, I believe, run by one of the people who runs Spitfire Audio. I don't recall. That might be misinformation. But they have, basically community-made free sample libraries for Contact. Like Guitar Dorchestra over here. Let's see what this sounds like. See, that's patch 11. Ignore the meatware. Ooh, that right here is where I need to fix that. Okay, let's just go one up. Okay. In any case, yeah, honestly, MIDI keyboards are really they're nice for like just playing around. And once you have an idea, you can actually like write stuff down. That is if you're like me and can't play for shit. I mean, I can play. I know the layout and everything, and I've had practice. I just need to hone my motor skills enough to be able to like play quicker and play better. Have I ever recreated existing music, like remixes of video game music? A video game, I'm trying to think, because I've made remixes before of certain tracks. I started a version of The Emptiness Machine by Linkin Park. That's like a cinematic remix, like something you'd hear in like a trailer for a film. I'm working with Corey Adkins on that. But like, you're talking about covers, right? Like complete, like remixes versus covers is sort of like, if you have a remix, you're using bits and pieces of the original track and then putting them in a different context. With a cover, it's your own version of the same song, but without any other, without any of the original material. So you're using your own material to make something new. I was thinking about creating a cover of Song 2 by Blur and then getting Corey's help for that. Because that is a song that deeply resonates with 2000s me. Like early 2000s me. Or mid 2000s, I should say. Another one was Hero by All Insane Kids. Should look that one up. That song was part of my childhood. But I don't think I've ever published. Wait. Hold on, because that might be a lie. Give me a sec. You know it's bad when I can't even remember if I published a cover to my own Bandcamp. I know I have made video... Okay, yes, okay, sorry. Here we go. I have made covers of video game music before, and it's called Zone 7, Advance and Beyond. That's the album on Bandcamp. It's free. You can name your price. You can even, like, it's name your price, which means it's basically free unless you want to pay more. Like give a little tip or something. But it is 36 songs that are covers of Sonic the Hedgehog songs, specifically and most prominently Sonic Advance tracks, which is another part of my childhood. Another huge part of my childhood. I'll actually link it so y'all can see that. I had a blast and a half making some of these. Sonic Heroes was a big part of my childhood. Yes, Ocean. Sonic X wasn't as big, but I was around to watch it when it was releasing. So, when it was actually like airing on 4Kids. And then I went back and watched the TMZ version and was immensely impressed and surprised by how much was censored by 4Kids. Or censored. But yeah, if we're talking about Sonic X, sub over dub by a long shot. Okay, I want to kind of circle back to what I was talking about the synthesizers and ultimately Galactic Hero here. I was talking about the Behringer 2600 I have beside me. It is a wall. It is a it is a 2-foot tall, at least, brick in the middle of my desk, or on the side of my desk, with an Arturia key step connected to it. It's not on right now, but I can show you a little bit of what I used it in. This is Cities of the Great Sea. I wrote this last year. So that I might actually expand upon later on. That's just sort of like testing the waters, so to speak. No pun intended. What software am I? Yeah, I'm using FL Studio. Yeah, 3-4 times signature. You want to know something crazy? Crazy. Sorry, I won't do that. Sorry. I would, but I won't. But you want to know something insane is I have used 13/8 and 11/8 time signatures. Oh god, you're doing it for me. Oh no. Oh no 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 no. So this is the only time I'll play this because this is like extremely like this is for one of my existing projects that is on my channel, but it is for an event that is in the future, and I will not say what it is for specifically, but I will play part of it just so you guys can have an idea of my 11/8 track. So yeah, there you go. That's 11/8 for you. And the 13/8 was from a track called Our Next Adventure, which is something. It's on Spotify as part of my album The Oblivion Constant. If you look up Techno Cinema, it should be up there. It's on, not just Spotify, but all the other platforms: iTunes, Bandcamp, perhaps Amazon. I think they still do Amazon Music. Yeah, that's probably the only time you'll hear that until it's finished and in context to what I'm working on. Unless it's gonna plug that there. Anyway, Galactic Hero time, right? This is why we're here. Let me show you just a little bit, for those who weren't here last stream, of the previous version, and then we'll kind of transition back to the current one. Let's see, where were we? Skip a little bit ahead here, sorry. Oh, there's that little accent that I added. Where is it? This one. So now I kind of want to just show you in parts of what I've been working on with this new version. I derive just a little bit of pleasure with just listening to each section, the percussion, the electronic bits, and the orchestral bits on their own. And then just kind of transition onto same section, just the electronic bits. The orange parts on this are things recorded directly from the Hydrasynth. Serious Eggman music. Much as I would love to try to use FL Studio again, I'm stuck with BandLab for now, and I'm making some decent progress in making covers of video game music. Finished a portion. I can speak of the Sonic 2 OST. That's awesome, man. Oh, replica vital. Okay. Isn't that? I don't know what that is, but guess it's nothing. Okay, and then this is just the orchestral parts. Oh yeah, I also had this. Just want to highlight these. Just little contrabass, clarinet, and contrabassoon waves going on there, and it gives way to this. Said Waves, I thought you were talking about the Waves plugins. No, the Waves plugins. Do I have any Waves? I think I have some Waves plugins. I don't know if I use them. I forget. I have so many. I've been doing this for almost 19 years now. I have accrued an arsenal. Essentially. Okay, so we are here today, at least, to get this portion done. This is the B theme, and let me kind of just play that B theme for you as it stands in a previous version from 2019. We're gonna set that here. We've already got the bass, chord progression down. Now all we need are some mids and the lead. Just think that'll do. This for the mids. And put an EQ on that. That's about right. We'll adjust it if need be. Sorry, I'm having fun. Let's see. So that for 2 measures, and then that for 2 measures. Just something simple. Kind of put everything else into motion. Take classes and make music. As far as tips go, there's a lot you can learn, online, but there's also, you can also, like, don't just rely on video tutorials. Trust yourself to rely on yourself to just experiment, just to have fun with it. And chisel away at what you know you're good at, because you'll always learn more. I'm still learning. I've recently just, kind of honed in on how I want to mix and master my songs to be, ear friendly or ear friendlier. It took me a hell of a journey to figure out the, mixing and mastering and all the little minutia that goes with it. But it was worth it. And it's, I'm not saying was as in it's over, because I'm still going to be learning, and still music is still an evolving art. And, I'm stretching out my limbs into a lot of different genres. Except maybe country pop. Maybe not country pop. That's the one outlier. But yeah, any type of hobby or, something you want to turn into a career, anything like this, it does take time to hone that skill. But if you have that drive, have the, you know, the drive to keep improving, keep experimenting, keep building upon what you already know, you could do great things. Gonna have to get off since I have to take care of some personal life stuff. This is great to see behind the scenes of a music producer. Thank you so much. Have a great day, man. Absolutely. Connections, Ocean. Connecting with others with the same interest. So that's why I keep in contact with people like Kiza and Corey Adkins. They're some fantastic, you know, they do their own like cover songs and stuff, but they're amazing vocalists and amazing, you know, voice actors. Someone like me, I like to connect with people not just in my circle, but around the circles of, you know, animation or, you know, voice acting, because I you know, I have a whole team of voice actors for Sonic Heroes Reborn. No problem, man. Appreciate you being here. But yeah, essentially, especially for someone like me who wants to make this kind of thing their career, connections matter. And you know, the more you can make, more connections you make and keep, the more likely it will be a reality. Is music? There's such a thing. Is there such a thing as a music convention? I believe so. I believe there's like music tech or music hardware software conventions that I've seen out there where people like show off like hardware and like hardware and software. I know there's musician conventions. Most likely. There's NAMM, or NAMM, I think it's just called. But I don't know if there is anything that would be like fellow music composers and producers just getting together. I know there's like there's conventions, and the conventions are for the spectacle, for like fans of musicians. Sorry, I can speak English, I swear. Oh yeah, Serum 2. By the way, I've learned something. I only have myself as a guinea pig for this, so I don't know if this is true for everyone. I'm pretty sure it is. Serum 2, if you have a license for Serum 1, is just a free upgrade. You can just go on Xfer and basically get that set up. I'm pretty sure. Well, let me double check. Free upgrade for Serum 1 owners. Serum 1 presets, automatic trans. Yeah. That's insane. That's what Contact should be doing. Take notes, Native Instruments. Sorry. Had to call him out for a second there. But yeah, if you own Serum 1, Serum 2 is free for you. Here, let me go in and start. Let's delete Dorchestra because I don't think I'll be using that here. Don't use the clarinet or the flute. Just the These are BBC Symphony Orchestra flutes, by the way. Da, 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 da. Give the flautist a breath. Then I think I'm gonna do just a variation, not exactly what I had in the 2019 demo, but this is what I got for that second bit. Just pushing these further back because I'm noticing that bring out an oboe. Let's see if I can just give these a nice staccato patch. Or marcato. Let's hear marcato. Sorry for staying here and for almost nothing, but it's 2 a.m. and I'm tired. Hopefully, that's all right, man. Time zones are a thing. I understand that. Have a good night, man. Can I add a minor second just for fun? A minor second. Like to which chord? Also, I don't think it was almost nothing. It's just nice to, you know, it's nice to be able to show off what I can do, but I also do appreciate having the chance to talk with you guys. Let's see how this feels. See how that sounds all together. Needs choir. Maybe not that. If Link was a robot. Especially with the flute patch. We just... So you're and I, you were saying add a minor second just for fun to this, which I assume, I'm pretty sure what you were referring to was adding this little A key here. Which I don't know if it works in this context. But it's giving me an idea for another one within this same song. But it also means I'm going to have to load another Lacrimosa patch. And this goes to the same output. I believe that's number 5. Yes, it is. And then Just sort of... Perhaps. Granted, McGear sometimes is that the music score sounds way minutely different on an album than what you hear on the movie or TV show. Because it's mixed according to what context it's in. You can't hear, or I don't know. Some people like it the way it is on the TV show. They want to re-experience that kind of the effect that the film has, but just hearing the score. But sometimes it's more common nowadays to mix the score for easier listening on an album. And I think while there's a balance there that needs to be made, there's also bits and pieces of a score that don't get on that album that are in the show or the film, or just entire pieces of music, entire seasons full of unique music that are never put on an album. I'm looking at you, right now. I'm looking at Avatar: The Last Airbender seasons 2 and 3. Jeremy Zuckerman put out the season 1 soundtrack in 2023 November, but the other two have yet to be released officially. And I'm also looking at shows like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They had a 7-season run. Only 2 seasons worth of music was ever released by Bear McCreary. Or, by Marvel, I should say. But there's tracks in that score that are so memorable. So vivid, so enjoyable that I would love nothing more than to hear them on an album. But it's unfortunately something we may never get. What I do enjoy, though, is when, beloved scores from old niche films get released an entire 14 years after the film's release. Like in the case of Nathan First and the Bionicle movie soundtracks. Those are peak, by the way. And those came out, the first film came out in 2003, and the score for it was released on all platforms, iTunes, Spotify, and everywhere else, in 2017. And then the two sequels were soon afterward. Hello, Crimson Bandit. How's it going? I'm struggling over this B theme right now. Give me a moment. I need to... Where's that going through? It's not going through anything right now because it's not being... It's not armed. There it goes. So... Da, 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 da. So we are going to just have this hydrosynth patch here. Oops. Fix it because there's bits here that are not timed to where they need to be. And then scale these down. That was kind of funny. So I may just slide this here, solo this, and then include oh. Fantastic. That that wasn't even recorded. Oh, wait. No, it was recorded. What? Okay. It was recorded because I was actually recorded. Oh, I can't. I sometimes I forget how my own system works. I have it set up so that the MIDI goes from my computer, the MIDI channel, goes from FL Studio, from my computer, into the hydrosynth, and then routes itself back into my PC in FL Studio as audio. So what you're hearing, it doesn't have an automation assigned to it because I didn't, record an automation clip for it, but I don't need to because it's already baked into it. That's disappointing, though. That's. I'm going to see if I can make that work. If I cannot make that work, crap. What I'm referring to, by the way, is the way the reverb cuts off. To answer your question, yes, epic music, as Ocean View said. So, need to add the little hi-hats here. Got some synthetic hi-hats made out of noise, and I've got these organic ones from actual like ride cymbals. What if I did this? More complicated scoring for TV, movies, or games. I feel like it depends, because for certain games you gotta have a you know, it's depends on what game you're scoring for, whether it's like a quote unquote AAA game or, you know, just an you know, some where they usually have like big epic like orchestral type stuff. Sometimes, most of the time. And then, you know, there's games that just have, they're geared more synths. Listen, I don't know how to speak today. Speaking is not my strong suit. I like talking to guys, but sometimes I can't talk. Let me try that one more time. Without the noise in the background. Okay, there we go. What essentially I'm talking about is depends on what genre they want, and depends on you know, for the video game specifically, and depends on how deep they want to go with the, you know, the middleware route where it can be dynamic. There's middleware that exists where you can like program the score essentially to do certain things depending on what your character is doing and what's happening in the environment. I feel like that, to me, makes scoring for games more of a challenge. Not a bad challenge, just a challenge. Than scoring for a film or a TV where the media is concrete. It'll always be that. Whereas with a video game score, nowadays you have all these little pieces that can loop and they can change and they can be layered on top of each other. And you kind of got to account for that. And I think that's awesome. I don't think that's a bad thing at all. I don't think that's, you know, too difficult. I think that is fantastic little piece of technology that we have today. Thanks, Seth. I appreciate that a lot. How you doing? I'm doing good. I'm doing well. Just writing a new take of an old track. Let me give you a little dose of what I'm talking about right here. Be better. I think we should add some accents to that. Maybe that little echo bit. Maybe that. I don't know why. That's just a little bit more satisfying for me. It going down instead of just copying the thing. I don't know. What do you guys think? Person inspired me to experiment with 3D modeling and animation. Aw. That makes me so happy, honestly. I love being able to just inspire people to do stuff. It, like, being able, so, whether it's through, you know, music or through animation, just learning the stuff and showing what I can do, and just seeing people come forward and, you know, across the world and just doing their own thing. Warms my heart. Let me see if I can right now. Oh, is this? Did I take out the patch? Yes, I did. Go for it, man. Oh, oh, fantastic. We've gotten to that point in the stream, everybody. We've gotten there. FL Studio has crashed. We've gotten to this point. I have a Blender crashed thing here as well. I'll have little video cues on my stream deck. I have a Blender crashed. It just looks like this. I need to add one for FL Studio because now this is a problem. We'd love to see it. Okay. All right. Chill. Where are we? How much time did we lose? Did I spaz to save like I should have? And are the backups going to save me? Sweet. We've only lost 3 minutes. So that's pretty much everything I just did with the EQ to change the EQ of the lead synth. Is my setup up to date? It's not necessarily a setup feature. I think it's a plugin in this or an effect plugin in this project that is entirely just screwing everything up. So pressing render is a roulette wheel. That's me when I'm mesh editing Lighted and accidentally pressed the auto mesh button too many times. It's me in Blender when I'm just doing something normal. Like I'm let's say I hit Control Z or I want to go to wireframe mode in the viewport and I just I just want to do that. Just something normal, something completely not it doesn't non-demanding and just complete ordinary function. Blender basically does this. So now I'm waiting for this to load again. Crash DaVinci Resolve. I need to learn DaVinci Resolve. I have it. I just need to learn it. I also need to get some more Adobe alternatives because I know Adobe. I've been using it for years, but the amount of bull that they're pulling out of their bull holes is baffling. Just Here, I'll use this opportunity to play some other music. Let's see. Let's see what we got. Let's see. How about this one? it seems to be taking its sweet time. Just loading Fruity Wrapper. I have no doubt that it is loading. Because it's got to load like 25 different BBC Symphony Orchestra instances and 5 contact instances. But I am getting increasingly impatient. It might have also been overloading itself because the other version was still open. The other window is still open. Let me just try this one more time. And then I'm gonna let it open, and then I'm not gonna touch it. Just gonna see what it does. Okay, so let's see what else we got here. How about yeah, it looks like it's just loading Fruity Wrapper, like not indefinitely, but over a long time. Let's do I'm drawing blanks of what I actually want to showcase here. How's about this one? These are all tracks that I've composed, by the way, over the years. I should have like a loading icon or something just here while we're waiting for it to... I should make one of those. We'll just put that there. That was called The Koi and the Fox. I also made that last year. Let's see. Here. This is one. You guys remember Ted? This is his theme. Sunflower. There we go. It works. It's perfect. Actually, let me adjust it up a little bit. There we go. How are we doing, FL? Still loading Fruity Wrapper, but there's progress. There's progress. Oh my god, it finally loaded! Okay, we gotta wait a little bit more though, because the BBC SO libraries have gotta... they have to load the samples. So I'm having another issue now. And that issue is... I don't know if you can see that. FL Studio no longer wants to recognize that recognize the scroll wheel as it pertains to the playlist. It likes to have it here and here and also here. Does it work on the on the piano roll? Yeah, it does work. Does it work like that? Yeah, it works. And we go to the playlist. It does nothing. It absolutely... Oh! Ah! How did I fix that? I hit control click. I hit control click after going to options, general settings, and hitting enabling and disabling the ultra smooth function. What? What? I genuinely love this program. But there's times I gotta say, FL Studio, everybody! Anyway, we gotta get rid of the loading wheel. We're no longer loading. What the hell? FL. Okay. How far are we into? Okay, those are loaded. Sounds like everything here is loaded. Okay. That was a whole debacle. Okay, so everything there is working. Perhaps that works. Then again, I have to save it. And then... You know what? Save myself headache just for right now. What I'm going to do is this. These are hooked up to 1 and 2. These are hooked up to 30. Well, what's So you're telling me I could have saved myself a whole lot of headache by just not having it on one routed track and then having it instead on the other routed track. Fantastic. Awesome. Goodbye. Hey, I just saw you were live. What you working on? Love your work, by the way. It's a huge inspiration. Thank you so much. Thank you. I am currently working on a... Well, you probably heard a little bit of it. It's a track called Galactic Heroes, which is... It's a new version of a track that I made back, first made back in 2010, revised in 2019, and now am revising again for what I hope to be the final iteration. But yeah, let's see how this sounds now. It's not just me, is it? It sounds like these. I have a compressor on it. The French horns. Standalone track. It is kind of a standalone track. It's a track that I am reserving for a specific story that I hope to make in the long future. It's a big project. It's not going to come anytime soon. But it has been like, I realized recently, I had it as a standalone track for a long time, and then I realized recently how much it evokes the soul of this story that I'm working on. It's literally galactic heroes going out and, not just they're exploring the galaxy, sometimes saving the galaxy from threats unknown. Evil emperors, crazed arsonists, world-ending shadow demons, demigods. That's not as apt of a description as I would have hoped it would be, but I guess it gets the message across. But it's, a story about a group of not just humans, but, other people, aliens from other planets across the galaxy getting together, uniting, and protecting their home meaning their galaxy. It's kind of Guardians of the Galaxy-ish, but it's like if Guardians of the Galaxy had little hints of Star Trek-iness to it, just aesthetically. It's a world I've been developing for more than a decade now. Well over a decade. So this is something I'm serious about producing someday. But for now, we have the music, and we also have actually we have one of the characters. You've actually, if you look back at one of my previous videos testing a new rig, the yellow character, Scythe, the scythe that's not the version in Avastera, but the one that has like Tear of Grace's voice on it. That is the character Rig. Was one of the characters in this lore. Maybe not Star Wars? is. It is like, it's got the kind of greebly. Some of the ships have that kind of greebly type effect in my mind, but it depends on it depends on the manufacturing species. Like there's one spacefaring race that is, they have their design is sleeker, whereas the other one is a lot more function over form, I would say. Yeah, right now though there really isn't as a huge platform for it, other than just the little bits and pieces I'm, hinting at around my channel, around both my channels actually. There's an entire album that I made called Cove, and it somehow got, like, it released on Spotify. It's still on Spotify, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if it's still on iTunes, but there was some craziness about that. That was back in 2019. It has a version of Galactic Hero, this song, from 2019 on it. But I feel like this version it speaks to the humanity, but also the science fictioniness or science fantasy-iness of it in the techno bits. And then there's that guitar too, which is also very human, very rugged. Oops. Ah, fantastic. It removed my undo function. Or my Control-Alt-Z undo function. Awesome. Fantastic. Wonderful. Ah! Okay. So, we're looking for the choir bit, right? Where's the choir? Here it is. Ah. It's the choir that's causing that issue. There's something I'm hearing in the mix that is very, it's a not a high frequency, but it's a Oh my god, it is. I... No. One question I had though is, are you self-taught or did you do any studies? A mix of both, actually. I started just playing around with rudimentary music software back in like 2006. Just working in like Sony Acid Music Studio 6.0 before I moved on to FL, which is the software I'm using right now in 2009. I wasn't given any professional or, actual instruction until I attended the Academy of Art in 2018. So the majority of what I know right now is self-taught. Music, learning music theory at the Academy of Art actually really helped a lot, helped me understand what I was doing and how to mix, how to master, in addition to music theory. Understand, what techniques I was putting into my tracks. I knew how to do what I was doing, mostly. I just didn't know that, I wasn't... the names of... I didn't have a name for them. I didn't put them... I didn't, what they were called. I don't know how to speak. I'm sorry. But essentially, to answer your question, TLDR, mostly self-taught, but I did take classes later on, much later on though. I did end up graduating like with a music production degree in the middle of the pandemic. I felt exceptionally lucky to have a in-person ceremony at all, but that rattled all of us. That rattled everyone on the planet, I'm pretty sure. But me personally, going through 2020 was like 100 years condensed into one long day. Anyway, I digress. I think I've got this down pat. Let me see how this transitions. Is it just me? Or does it sound busy?
I join. Immediately get the vibes. Like wow.
That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you for the super chat. Very much appreciated. How to Train Your Dragon in space, I feel like, because it's got all these in there. Let's just see what it sounds like without the orchestra. Whoa. Someone is blasting some bass heavy music either upstairs in the apartment above us or below us in a car, because I have the window open. I thought that was part of my mix for a second there. I got worried. New computer, these speakers are way better than I thought. It's awesome. What a way to test your new speakers, man. I appreciate it. That's awesome. Honestly. Let's see. And then this is just with the orchestra. Let's see. I think the synth here was causing most of the issues. Let's see. I turned it down a bit and stereo panned it. Let's see what it sounds like now. I think that sounds a little cleaner, actually. I feel myself focusing a lot more on, the main lead and not being distracted by everything else. What do you guys think? Also, should I have... Alright, well, it's been quite late for me here. Just wanted to catch a stream from you, Mattercell. Have fun. Good luck with your mix. Have a good one. You too, man. Glad you could join us. I I hear the sultry sounds of an air conditioner being installed outside, and that today is my signal that I need to wrap up soon. But I'll at least get this segment done like I promised. I think the last thing I'm going to add here is the timpani, because I got timpani in the last section, but I need to add it for this bit. Where is that patch? So that's where it is. So I've got, oh, there it is. Okay, so it's in 2 different patches. Da, da, da. Love your music, bro, and your videos and animations. Thanks. I appreciate it. I always appreciate the kind words, and I always appreciate. I love it when, you know, like I said before. I appreciate hearing, you know, people being inspired to make things. Like if I know I've made it in life when I hear someone say they were inspired to make something that was, you know, just because of what I do. So y'all are awesome, truly. Where's the... Okay, there it is. Oh, that sucks. That is not good. Speaking of hack. Yeah, first of all, condolences to those thousands of photos. Holy crap, that is a... The hell is that? Sorry. But I was gonna say, speaking of hacked, randomness animations. I've mentioned him before. That's still an ongoing situation. YouTube still hasn't done anything about that, as far as I know. But he does have his random backup, his alt channel. Random backup is what that's called, I believe. Let me double check that. Random backup. Yeah, that one. Randomness animations does, like, you know, Vanoss crew related little random animations. And, you know, their channel got... Well, here's the thing. I'm not... I'm halfway in the loop. I'm in the loop, but I'm like, I haven't been updated. Or I haven't like checked in a little bit. But it's an ongoing situation. It's like... The hacker has the gall to like no, but like here. Sorry, my thoughts are being scrambled. They have the hacker has the gall to like put their Telegram link on Randomness's YouTube channel description. Had VOD videos. Sure had VOD videos as Smitty. I think it was you. Oh, is that what? Is that part of what you lost? I think I gotta go in a second here, though. Let me just make sure I got this timpani correct. Oops. So this is the deciding factor. If I render this, if I render this out with just these, maybe that one up. Up one octave. Oh no, you're fine, man. I like producing yeah, like I said before, I like producing, you know, being able to share with you guys my process here, but I also like talking to you guys too. So the deciding factor of this is going to be if this wants to render or not. If this crashes, if this freezes because it just wants to, it's a roulette wheel, like I was saying. It just likes to. If I hit Alt R on this right now and it crashes, I'm just gonna end stream because I need to go to dinner. If it renders, I'll put it in, and then I'll end stream. Let's see how this goes. Also, the lovely Pow Pow just entered the room. Excellent input from the girlfriend. All right, let's see. We need a drum roll. We need a drum roll. Where's a drum roll? I don't have a drum roll sound effect. I should. Just let's just Nope. We failed. We failed. It's chalked. It's over. It's gone. It's at least I saved this time, but it crashed. So we're just gonna call it here. I'll finish. I'll continue this next time. Probably another day this week. But I just gotta get away from the computer for a bit. I need to rest my eyes. I'm gonna need to eat dinner. So this what looks like. What? Hearing Pow Pow going bah! That here, that's crooked. There we go. Okay, so it crashed. FL Studio crashed. I saved, but it's fine, but it crashed. So we're gonna do this next time. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed, despite the rambling and despite the craziness. But it's great to talk to you all. Have a great rest of your day, and I will try to as well. Thanks. See you guys.